Hi, my name is Pita Cammock. I'm a Senior Foreign Policy Officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. I'm here because I've been quite involved in the New Zealand Government GCC New Zealand Regional Strategy. And one of the principal aims of that strategy is to assist New Zealand business in the Middle East, and specifically in the countries of the Gulf Cooperation Council. The other reason I'm here is that I work quite closely with Alex Matheson, who's the newly appointed, or not quite newly appointed, Special Government Envoy for Government Commercial Partnerships. And he's been doing a lot of work around bringing private sector, public sector together to take advantage of commercial opportunities in the Gulf. So those are the reasons I'm here. The other point I would make is that the Gulf is a big foreign policy focus for the New Zealand government. And part of the reason behind that foreign policy focus is our Security Council bid, of course. There's the fact that it's a very strategically important region of the world. It's where New Zealand gets all its oil from. But perhaps most importantly is the fact that we've had a lot of interest from Gulf governments and companies in the Gulf in New Zealand. And there's a couple of specific reasons for that. One of the reasons is that New Zealand is looked to as a model of good governance and as a model of good public sector systems. And many of these Gulf governments want to implement similar systems in their own governments. So that's a big reason why they look to New Zealand. And a specific example of that is the Abu Dhabi 2030 plan, which specifically mentions New Zealand, Ireland and Singapore as best model governments, countries and systems. So one of the reasons behind Alex Matheson's appointment is to take advantage of this interest in New Zealand's public sector systems. And one thing we're trying to do is look at New Zealand public sector systems as intellectual property and marketing that to the countries of the Gulf and getting New Zealand companies interested in that. So what does MFAT do around that to help companies? Well, there's a couple of things that we do. One is that we highlight opportunities in the Gulf. We have diplomatic staff over there, and in their meetings with government officials and with business people and just with the interaction with the local New Zealand community, they often are made aware of significant business opportunities in the Gulf. So we try to relay that back here to New Zealand. One specific route we use, the only routes we use, is the New Zealand Middle East Business Council. So we try to make them aware of everything that's going on over there. The other thing we do is that we try to do all we can to assist New Zealand business in market. One thing we do with that is that we work closely with the Middle East New Zealand Business Council. We try to give them all the support we can in terms of organising trade delegations. There's a trade delegation coming up in March next year, and we'll do everything we can to help with that. And one specific thing we'll do is we'll get a minister to lead the delegation. And as others will talk about, in the Middle East, and in the Gulf in particular, there's very little differentiation between private sector, public sector. Often the leaders in Gulf governments are also the biggest business owners in the region as well. And so for New Zealand to do well on a commercial/business level, we also need to engage at a political security level as well. And a good example of that is having a minister lead a trade delegation. He'll give the sort of high-level access that's needed in the region to fully explore business opportunities and to get the sort of business contacts that you really want to make in the region to get really serious commercial opportunities. And you won't get those without a minister there. The other thing that MFAT does is that we make our ambassadors available. Again, it's a very status-conscious region. Having an ambassador involved in a meeting or simply arranging a meeting for a New Zealand business can make a big difference in terms of actually getting that meeting and for Arab Gulf business contacts to take you seriously. The other thing we do is that we make embassy facilities and premises available. It's a big draw card in the Middle East for a New Zealand company to invite a potential business partner in the Gulf to attend an event at an embassy. Again, it's a status thing, and as a result of that, it may lead to a more serious business relationship in the future. So that's basically what MFAT can do. That's the broad view MFAT has on business in the Gulf. It's a big priority for us. We'd like to see New Zealand businesses involved in it. There's a lot of New Zealand businesses that are doing very well in the Gulf, particularly in the education sort of sector. We hope to see more New Zealand businesses do well in other sectors as well, including environment, tourism, and other areas as well. One or two points I just make on doing business in the Middle East, in addition to what I've just said, and there's others that will speak after me that have more experience of this. But it's a region where everything moves very slowly, and that includes business relationships. So often, if I can just talk from the government angle in terms of relationships we build up, and it goes for business relationships as well. If we're looking to discuss a particular foreign policy concern or issue with the Saudi government, for example, we don't expect to actually get to the point where we're discussing that issue until we've had 2 or 3 meetings with a particular foreign ministry official. Often the first meeting will just be having tea and coffee and discussing family. Perhaps the ambassador will talk about how much he likes the Middle East, and they're always very interested in hearing that. The next meeting will follow on from that, and perhaps from the first meeting the ambassador will be invited to attend a majlis, which is basically a sitting room meeting with that particular foreign ministry appointee. Again, you'll have tea and coffee, and then perhaps after that you'll be invited to his office at the foreign ministry to discuss the particular issue you want to discuss. So it's just an example of how things move very slowly there, and people in the Middle East and in the Gulf are very interested in building up a personal relationship first before they talk about business issues. And that goes for commercial and business people as well. So that's all I'd say. As I said, MFAT's here to help. We'll do everything we can to assist New Zealand business. We are particularly supportive of the efforts of the New Zealand Middle East Business Council as well.